Let's talk about solving multi-step linear equations with decimals. Let's begin with a quick review. If I have 3.25 and I multiply it times 100, I simply move that decimal point 2 places to the right. My answer here would be 325. If I have 0.8 times 10, when you multiply by 10, I need to move that decimal point 1 place to the right. 0.8 times 10 is simply 8. Let's get to work. We have the equation 0.35x plus 0.6 equals 2.7. Now, I can certainly work these with decimals, but I can also get rid of them to make it a little easier for myself. How many numbers are behind a decimal point in 0.35? 2 numbers. In order to get rid of that decimal point, I would need to multiply it by 100. The other 2 numbers, 0.6 and 2.7, I would only need to multiply those by 10 because I only need to move that decimal point 1 place to the right. But remember, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other in equations. I am going to choose to multiply both sides by 100. So we will multiply the left side by 100, and I will multiply the right side by 100. On the left side, I need to use a little distributive property. So 100 times the first term and 100 times the second term. And of course, I need to also multiply the right side by 100. When I multiply by 100, I am simply moving the decimal point 2 places to the right. 100 times 0.35x is just 35x. 100 times 0.6, be careful here. I am moving it 2 places to the right, so that will be 60. I have to add a 0 in order to move it 2 places to the right. And on the right side, 100 times 2.7, once again, I can add a 0, so I can move that 2 places to the right. That will be 270. And now we have gotten rid of the decimals, and we are down to a regular 2-step equation. Let's continue working. Okay, remember, we want to isolate the variable. We have 35x plus 60 on the left. Let's begin by undoing the addition and subtraction. I have 60 that is being added. The opposite of adding 60 is to subtract 60. But whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. And sure enough, the positive 60 and the negative 60 cancel out. Just like I planned, on the left side, I have 35x. On the right side, 270 minus 60 will be 210. The variable is not by itself yet. X is being multiplied by 35. The opposite of multiplying by 35 is to divide by 35. And yes, whatever we do to one side, you have to do to the other. We're almost done. 35 divided by 35 will just be 1x or x, and 210 divided by 35 is 6. I can always go back to my original equation, plug in 6 for the variable, and see if my equation is indeed equal. Let's keep working. We have the equation 1.7m plus 4 equals 43.1. Once again, we can work this equation with the decimals, or if we would like to make it easier, we can choose to get rid of those decimals. How many digits or numbers are behind the decimal point in 1.7? And it is 1. In 4, there aren't any digits behind the decimal point. 43.1 only has 1 number. So it looks like 10 will do the trick here. I'm going to choose to multiply both sides by 10. So remember, when we multiply by 10, we only move that decimal point one place to the right. 10 times 1.7m is 17m. And I wrote 4 as 4.0. So you will notice 10 times 4.0, move that decimal point one place to the right. That will be 40. And 10 times 43.1 is 431. And now let's continue working. My variable is on the left side. We are going to undo the adding and subtracting first. 40 is being added. The opposite of adding 40 is to subtract 40 from both sides. On the left side, I will have 17m. On the right side, 431 minus 40 is 391. We have one more step to go. The variable is being multiplied by 17. Therefore, I will divide both sides by 17. M will equal 391 divided by 17 is 23. Let's try a couple more. 0.7x minus 4x plus 6 equals 0. We have a couple of options here. I could choose to combine like terms first and then get rid of my decimals, or I could just get rid of my decimals immediately, and that's what I'm going to do. It looks like I have one number behind the decimal point in the first term, and I don't have any numbers behind the decimal point in the other terms. So 10 should do the trick here. Let's multiply both sides by 10. And we will use the distributive property. 10 times 0.7x is 7x. Remember, I just moved that decimal point one place to the right. 10 times a negative 4x, that will be 40x. 10 times 6 is 60. And on the right side, 10 times 0 is simply 0. The decimals are gone. I do need to do one additional step in this equation that I didn't have to do before. I have like terms on the same side. Well, let's combine those. 7x and a negative 40x will be negative 33x. And now I have a two-step equation. So let's undo the adding and subtracting. What's the opposite of adding 60? You will subtract 60 from both sides. I will have negative 33x will equal negative 60. X is now being multiplied by negative 33. What is the opposite of multiplied by negative 33? It is to divide by a negative 33. And of course, negative 33 divided by negative 33 will just be 1 times x, which is just x. On the right side, be careful with those signs. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. And yes, this is 60 over 33. That can be reduced. The numerator and the denominator are divisible by 3. 60 divided by 3 will be 20. 33 divided by 3 is 11. Our answer is 20/11ths. And that is reduced. If your teacher would like that as a mixed number, that is the same as 1 and 9/11ths. Let's try one more problem. 2.08y minus 5.4 equals 0.84. What do y'all want to multiply by to get rid of these decimals? 100 is the correct answer. I will need to use distributive property. 100 times 2.08y is 208y. 100 times negative 5.4, that would be a negative 540. I move that decimal point 2 places to the right. On the right side, 100 times 0.84 is 84. Now let's solve for y. We will begin by undoing this subtraction. What's the opposite of subtracting 540? And yes, it is adding 540. 84 and 540 will be 624. Y is being multiplied by 208. I'm going to divide by 208 on both sides. Y will equal 3. Good luck with your equations and decimals.